Or alternatively, it looks like a kind of crisis which is sometimes necessary in order for people to identify the need for radical change. Radical change, which I am proposing.
What are you proposing?
Bring unity by shifting decision-making powers from the leadership to the membership so the whole party is pointing in the same direction.
Do you think
and the leadership understands that it is their sole responsibility to aim to elicit what is the will of the membership, to hold that to be sovereign and to drive for that uncompromisingly. The fact is, these people who have worked themselves into positions of power won't want to relinquish that power easily. Think very carefully about whether they truly believe in the concept of democracy or whether they simply want to feign their commitment to democracy to attain a position of power from which they may exploit their opportunity for influence to determine the future direction of the party on the basis of their own personal agenda.
I think we're seeing the terminal spasms of a political movement now, which is only going to get uglier, actually.
Do you think it's the end of the party?
I do, and I actually think Nigel Farage, rather than sipping cocktails in the Trump Tower, perhaps should be back. But in a way, they've succeeded in their core mission. I think perhaps Jonathan should think about, perhaps joining another party.
Well, thank you very much for that, Claire. But the fact is, all you've seen is phase one nearing its completion. Phase two is going to get much more exciting, and that is the revolution in British politics. You're going to see a direct democracy movement that is going to hemorrhage support from parties like yours and for Labour, that is going to hemorrhage support from parties like yours. We're talking about internal direct democracy within a political party in Britain. We're talking about giving the ordinary members a voice.
Are you frightened of this sort of thing? Are you frightened by the idea of the direct democracy?
It was my party who gave the British people the biggest democratic exercise we've ever had with the referendum.
You were forced to, and it is your party that is blocking the process. Let me tell you what parliamentary democracy in its current form has produced. You have a clear majority of the British people voting to no longer be under the power of anti-democratic, unelected representation abroad, and you have your party who are trying to block it.
Let Claire answer.
Well, look, I'm afraid I don't know quite what Jonathan's been perhaps he's been having cocktails in Trump Tower too, because my party is absolutely unified. Unlike the Labour Party, I might add, behind our Prime Minister on delivering Brexit.
You say you want to unleash a direct democracy revolution.
You are going to be amazed by what I'm going to tell you now. This is going to be the most open political party you've ever seen in Britain. What I'm going to do, Mark, and we've discussed this with the board, is we are going to directly liaise and have votes amongst our registered supporters to shape policy and shape our future direction. I want this to be a really, really engaged group of people. As far as
they'll vote via email, presumably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not rallies every day.
No, it'll be an online platform, and we are going to consult them, and we will produce policy on the basis of what our supporters think. And that, I think, is quite a radical departure.
Phase two is going to get much more exciting, and that is the revolution in British politics. You're going to see a direct democracy movement. We're talking about internal direct democracy within a political party in Britain, shifting decision-making powers from the leadership to the membership so the whole party is pointing in the same direction.
Do you think
and the leadership understands that it is their sole responsibility to aim to elicit what is the will of the membership, to hold that to be sovereign and to drive for that uncompromisingly?